Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. I appreciate all of those who have subscribed. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the views on the last video. You guys are badass, killing it. You're killing it. Today's a little update on the Cobra. Now the Cobra, yes, we did do a video on the new shoes. Have I put the new shoes on it? No, and there's several reasons why. One, when the car goes over to where it's gonna get all worked on, they're mainly gonna let me take the car after they pull the engine, and I'm gonna go do some extra stuff to it. Number two, I'm not gonna put the money into it when getting that running is a little bit more important than putting some nice wheels on it, if you know what I mean. Now, with that being said, we are waiting for a lot of parts. We've got some of it, but not all of it. I told them I do not want to take this thing over there until we have all of the parts. Now, if that doesn't make any sense, I understand, but I don't want my car sitting over there forever in the sun or whatever's going on because it's a small shop. But I respect them, and I'm not going to take up the room if they don't have all the parts and they can get other stuff done. Now, this is what we've got coming so far. We do have a Whipple 3-liter coming. And we also are going to get rid of this entire fuel system. The old rails are going. We're going to keep the return because this is a new return system. Obviously this is going to go the Dragon. Obviously this is a Dragon. It is a real Dragon throttle body and plenum. I know you're wondering, why did you wrap it with thermal tape or something like that? This engine bay gets extremely hot, and speaking of that, we are going to try to fix that while we're at it. We're also going to be adding some bigger vents on these deep inductions right here. We're going to go from about here all the way down to open that up so we can get some of that heat to rise and come out of the engine bay. Now, a lot of this we don't need to mess with because a lot of it we did on the first time that we pulled the motor and went through all of this. Now, the reason why I bet you're wondering, dude, if you pulled the motor, why didn't you just rebuild it in the first place? Well, we didn't think it needed rebuilt. It was running perfectly fine, but then we started doing it on the dyno, and then that's when the spark plug started giving us hassles, and then we started doing investigating and found out the company that I sent the car to before these guys didn't do jack shit. They basically charged me $4,500 and didn't do a single thing. So, with that being said, we are going to do a few little upgrades on the front end here. We obviously are going to get ourselves a new front bumper. That old one is beat the hell and back. Matter of fact, I'm going to use it for like a decorative piece or something. I don't know. We're going to come up with something. I'm also thinking about getting me a carbon fiber hood that we are going to paint, and I'm thinking about holding on to this. Holding on to it and possibly see if we can't decorate it and make it like a wall decoration. You know, put your guys' stickers all over it or your guys' decals, you know, just kind of go buck wild crazy on a Cobra hood. I think that would be pretty badass. And then at the end of the day, do a drawing on who is going to take this home with them. You know, I feel like if we could decorate this thing top to bottom with a bunch of stickers and then at the end of the day put out for a drawing, I think that would be pretty badass. Now, with that being said, what all are we going to be, what parts am I grabbing and what parts have I ordered and what's waiting and so on and so forth? Well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a brief idea of what's going on. There's a lot more to it than what you think, but let me tell you right now. Right now, I do have different long tube headers coming. These ones are the small ones. I bought these years and years ago for a damn good price. These are the Cooks. I paid $400 for the headers and the mid pipe. I can't believe I even did that too. Bought them used for $400 and they were perfect. Now we're going to replace all that with the bigger tubing because we are going to be pushing about 800 horsepower is what we're feeling. This will be running on E85 and this will also be running on just regular 91 pump. Obviously, we're going to be upgrading the injectors on it. We're going to replace the fuel rail. I'm also going to be actually dipping the valve covers. I've already talked to a guy, got that all set up. We're going to be dipping the valve covers. A lot of this is happening once the motor comes out. And once the motor comes out, you guys are going to be involved in every aspect of this thing, regardless if I'm building it or not. I don't have time to build shit anymore. I'm too busy working 6, 7, even, 8 days a week, if you know what I mean. It's ridiculous, and I know there's not 8 days in a week. Don't get on me about that. There is a few things I am wanting to do, though. I am going to put a tower brace over this. I took out the original one that would fit over this, but after putting a bunch of upgrades in here and changing out the shock tower, shocks, and doing all that rest of that jazz, I got rid of it. But I kept the old plates that that were sitting on the bottom, so we could reuse that as a way to reassemble maybe a new tower brace or something. Now, with that being said, obviously I want to hold on to this. This isn't high output or high intake, a lot more air and everything. I want to hold on to that. Obviously, we relocated the battery. There's just a lot of stuff that's already been done. We are going to probably be replacing the transmission on this. Now, I know that these transmissions in these T56s do pretty well when it's just everyday driving, even with 800 horsepower, they do pretty well. But when you start to really slam it and hammer the hell out of it, it really tears them up. So we're thinking about doing a Magnum transmission. I haven't made up my mind on that just yet, but that's what we're thinking. We're also going to be putting subframe rails, which I already have right over here. Don't run in the trash. I have the subframe rails already. Also, these are all, besides that, all car parts that will be getting sold here soon. I'm going to get rid of all. I don't have any need for old rear end parts for the IRS. I don't have any need for it. The only thing we're keeping on here is the headers and a few other little things, but everything else is going to go. I don't have no room. I'm running out of room. Wife is going crazy. She can't park, obviously, because, why can't you park? You have this entire space right here where you can park. My truck is never in the garage, rarely. Right now, the truck's in the garage to get an oil change. So, with that being said, on the interior of this bad boy, I'm wanting to redo this interior. This interior is kind of dated. I'm wanting to keep it black, obviously. I don't mind the seats, but I also think they need to go. They're a little flamboyant for this car. Look at that. They stand out hard. I don't mind how hard they stand out. They do kind of match the back seats, but in the other sense, I kind of don't want them anymore. I want to do something different. So on the interior here, we are going to be replacing the steering wheel. We are going to replace the carpet. There is a hole in this carpet right there. She's got 75,000 miles on her, guys. And they're probably not the easiest of miles between me and however many owners. And believe it or not, I actually did some research on this thing, and this car has had a lot of owners. When I first bought the car about 10 years ago, I bought the car, and I didn't really care. It was a Cobra, and all I wanted to do was get in it and drive it. And boy, I never did any research on it. And now that I'm kind of getting really deep into this, I was just kind of curious the other day how many owners this thing's had. If you guys can take a guess how many owners, write down in the comments. Take a guess. I'll tell you if you're the winner or not. And no, you don't win a damn thing, because honestly, I'm not winning anything. I'm having to repair everything. I am going to put gauges in this, and I don't like having a gauge pod right here. It's pretty tacky. It's pretty ugly. I think we'll put the two right next to the dash. I have the one that goes right over here. We might even put another one over there. I just want to keep it low stance, and I want to keep it clean as possible. Obviously, we need to put the cover back onto that. On the interior here, we are going to keep the back seats, but we are going to do a cage in here. Now, this cage is going to be kind of different and unusual, because we're not going to do a standard gauge where it has a big bulky bar that comes all the way down, and it's just always in the way, and it's always a problem. So what we're going to do is actually tuck the roll cage as much into this A-pillar as much as possible. We're going to tuck it in here, and it's actually going to go into the dash, all the way into the dash, into the floor. And it's going to be just a standard cage, nothing crazy, because I do have a kid. I do need to put him in the back seat at some point. Other than that, I'm not really going to mess with this interior too much. New carpet, new seats. I would love to go crazy on this interior. I just don't know what would be a certain point where it looks a little too tacky. I've seen one of these Cobras I saw years ago that had it was white with a red interior. My God, it looked gorgeous. With that Ferrari red interior, it really stuck out hard. But with a dark gray car, I think we're just gonna leave it dark interior. It just keeps it simple, almost keeps it neutral, so if we ever wrap the car for whatever color, the dark interior will just about match it. Now, if we come to the back here, as you can see, we've already relocated the battery back here. Not a big deal. We've already put the heat exchanger tank back here, which that's a really good idea. We've already ran lines all the way to the front, and speaking of those lines, we actually are gonna change out the heat exchanger up front. We're gonna go with the bigger one. There's bigger inlet and outlet lines that they make out there, and that's what we're gonna go with. I think it's LMP, LMF, I don't know, who cares? All I know is that that's getting upgraded with it. Now back here, I don't like the way this looks. What I mean by I don't like the way it looks, I think the battery's location is great. I think this location is great. I'm glad we didn't put the battery on one side or the other. I really didn't care for that. I wanted it right here in the middle. keep the weight kind of centralized. If anything, we are going to put a subwoofer in here, but we're going to put a subwoofer back there. We're going to put a subwoofer back there against the back seat. Rarely will I ever put the back seat down. Obviously, we have that brace that goes across here, which basically ruins that room. But we're going to put a subwoofer back there. But on this floor right here, we are actually going to float this floor up. If you don't know what I mean, pretend this is a piece of wood. We're actually going to basically make the floor about as level with this. So all you see is the drain cover and maybe the top of the battery box. And that is it. With a clean floor, we're also gonna put some noise insulation back here. We're gonna make this car actually livable while also making it fast and sporty like. What I mean by livable is if I wanted to take this car to California or New York, I can drive it there without having to worry about the uncomfortable sports car, stiff body and everything to go with it. And I wanna make it comfortable. Obviously, we are running coilovers on all four corners, and those coilovers are designed for autocrossing. No, I'm not going to change those out. Those were very, very expensive, and we're leaving them. All together, by the time it's done, this car is going to be a hell of a build. I'm pretty excited for it. The shop has told me they're delayed out even farther. They've got projects ahead of mine that was there before that they're trying to finish, but then they're also trying to get my stuff in. It's just a big hassle, especially with everything that's going on in this world, in this up world that's going on right now. I'm not happy with it, but I have patience. This car will be sitting here. The updates for this car will be very, very minimal, unfortunately, right now. I'm not going to put too much money or time into it. I want this fixed. I want it running. I don't want to put money into something that I don't really drive right now because it doesn't run properly. There's no sense in that. These updates are going to get slow, but we're going to do other things. I've bought another car. I know it's weird. Why are you not going to put the money into this? I bought another car. It's a little secret. I'll tell you all in the next video. Peace. You thought that was over? You didn't subscribe. If you waited this long, you should subscribe. Right down there. Push the subscribe button, you lazy. Hit it. Hit the subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit it. Hit it now.